Hey, I've been trying to uh kind of get some thoughts together to do like a blog or something like that, or even just like a video entry to send to my sister or whatever about the JET program. And first, because it's easier to talk about, probably just gonna talk about the number one hardest thing, which is the language barrier. And that seems really common sense and just like fucking duh, like you're in a foreign country, like you don't speak the language, so yeah, it's gonna be hard. But I mean, I realized that when I came here. Like, I realized that before I came here. It's just gonna be fucking hard. But having said that, when you're used to the place that you've lived in for forever, and you don't have to learn another language to get by. It's really easy to say that. And like, I mean, I was an ESL student. I I, I spoke Tagalog until I came to Guam, and then my dad, you know, just taught me how to speak English well and helped me get rid of most of my accent. And like, I mean, so I know that it's hard, but I was really young when that happened, so I just kind of, some things that people take for granted, like I think they just don't, a lot of people just don't realize like how truly exhausting it is until you've actually been put in a situation. Because like, it's one thing to know that it's going to be hard, but it's another thing to just kind of have those what the fuck moments where you're just like, oh yeah. Like, for example, Guam is really small, and we have no public transportation system really, and we don't really use maps. I mean, because it's so small and everything is landmark based. Most of the people who live there kind of just know where things are, and so it's really easy when you're looking for something to just say, oh yeah, it's right by the Kmart, or like you pass the mall and then the second turn on the left. Like, that's how we get around. We don't, like, we hardly say, okay, go down Marine Corps Drive and take a turn into Route 8 or something. I mean, some people do, but if you do that, they'll just get lost. They'll just be like, what's it next to? Okay, it's next to this store. All right, I got it, no problem. So, here it's just, I think I'm having a harder time than other people because most of the other people are from big cities, so they have some idea of like public transportation system, like mapping system, shit like that. And then on top of it, like a lot of people also have a lot of experience with the Japanese language, so sometimes it's kind of hard, like to, I don't even know if it's a matter of pride or just like not wanting to be a burden, but everyone seems to know what the shit is going on, and you're just kind of like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna follow the group around and pretend like, fake like I understand until I can like put together some context clues and actually understand. So that's what life is kind of like day by day. Um, and the best way that I can describe it, because when you, let's see, so the best way that I can describe it is like, in Harry Potter when he has like that invisibility cloak, it's like he can see shit, like he can function and move around and like evade his enemies, but like it's always like cloudy. Like it's like there's gauze or something, or like it's blurry, and like even though he can see, it's not 100% clear until he takes that shit off. That's kind of how it's like. It's like here, I mean, I'm relegated to just kind of like summarizing or just seeing like the big picture or just getting nuggets and gist of like information. And that's fine for functionality, but like when you like to know things, when you're into the nuance of things and you just like things to like grow and be organic, like conversations, it's like it's so hard. Like, sometimes you want to know more than just, oh, this person is sad. Like, sometimes you want to know like the feeling behind it. Sometimes you want to know more than just facts that you need to get by. Like, You want to know, you want to understand the simile that someone used to describe their feeling. You want to know the metaphor that they used. You know, you want to get a sense of who you're talking to, how they're feeling. Like, but you just can't. It's like, it's like so frustrating because so many times you've just about gotten it, and then you just can't quite get your brain completely around it. And another way is to think about it is like when you have that itch, like somewhere on your body that you just can't scratch because you can't fucking find it, and it bothers you because like you're scratching and you're like, it seems like you're scratching like all around it, and you're like, where the fuck can it be? Because I feel like I've scratched every inch around this like phantom itch. It's like that. It's like I just can't get it. Like I just can't quite get it, but I'm so close. And it's like, you know, it's really hard to live that way. And I mean, a lot of people would just say, like, well, no shit, like, the answer is obvious, just learn the fucking language. That's easier said than done because I have studied Japanese before. I studied for 2 years, but you know, whatever you don't use, you lose. And I hadn't used it for a really long time, so I'm back to square one. And, you know, it's people say those kinds of general statements without even really understanding like what is involved in learning like a language. It's a cultural thing, it's a conceptual thing, it's a different way of thinking altogether. And so many people study for years and years and years and even live in the place for years and years and years and just never get it. So, you know, it's a it's a seemingly insurmountable task that, you know I can do. It's just that like I'm so busy, like if it makes sense, like I'm so busy living here to like really know shit. Like how can I, like for example, um when I was on Guam, I worked as a graphic artist for a company, and this is not what I studied. Like I studied fine arts and like painting and printmaking and shit. And like I just kind of fell into the graphic artist thing because it had something to do with art, and like I needed to make a living. Like no one was gonna buy my paintings. I wasn't gonna pay fucking rent with paintings. So, like first things first, I got the job. And then second thing is just kind of like shit. I don't know anything about Photoshop. So I had to kind of like find a lot of shortcuts and like learn things like quick and dirty way. And like you never really know if you're doing the right technique because you've just kind of had to like pull together whatever scant resources you have to get the job done. So it's like that. It's like I'm too busy finding shortcuts to communicate, like whether it's using gestures or like using a mix of like mostly English and then just trying to slip in the few Japanese words that you know just so that like you can communicate a little better. It's like you're so busy trying to find shortcuts that like it's it's so hard to actually sit down and like read something or study something. It feels like you're going at snail's pace while everything else is just flying by. So I mean it's really hard. Like there's what you study and there's the reality of needing to communicate now before like you've even acquired the skills to like do it. So I mean that kind of thing, like I said, is just like an itch you can't scratch, and it's frustrating. And then like another way that I've thought about, that kind of thing is just it's like you have a song like right on the tip of your tongue. And like you've hummed the tune all day and like you know it inside somewhere. Like you know the artist, you know who sang it, you know the song, but for some reason your brain and your mouth just can't seem to fucking get it together so that you can say it. And it's like just try living like that for 30 minutes. Like you can't. I bet you can't do that without picking your phone up or your computer to like Google who sang this song. Like what are these lyrics from? Like you're just gonna find out because you want to get some sleep and you want to fucking know that you're humming like Backstreet's Back, all right, da 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 da. Like You know, so you have that convenience, like you have that tool to like put your mind at ease, like, okay, I've Googled it, I know this is who sings it, I can finally get some sleep. But I don't have that. So I've lived like that for 2 months, with an itch I can't scratch that's still there, and like that tune I can't name. So, I mean, I'm working on it, and I know it's not going to be like this forever. It's just that trying hard not to romanticize like being here, because although it's a really great opportunity, it's like there are a lot of things that, you know, between like the beginning and the end goal, like there are a lot of things in the middle part that are real shit. And I mean, it doesn't make me regret coming here, like, because I know these shit times are really necessary. um, you have to go, everybody has to go through this. So I mean, I just wanted to give a better understanding of like what it's like lately, and hopefully in the future I'll look back on this video and be like, yeah, I remember that time. I'm so glad I'm not there anymore. So, I mean, ending on that positive note, like, I mean, just trying to learn all I can. And like that's such a shit way to summarize everything, but what are you gonna do, right? Uh, so I guess that's how I'm gonna end this. It's just hopefully I can get my shit together and stop feeling really exhausted at the end of the day. Um, and little by little, I'm sure it'll come together. So, right. Peace out.